We're a family of five who spend most of our summers sailing around in our 28-foot sailboat Helios. Join us as we travel and adventure around Denmark and the Baltic Sea. After completing the Trollhätte Canal, we stayed in Gothenburg for a couple of days to look around. The city itself was very nice, but the area around the harbor was like a giant construction yard. There were a lot of interesting boats to look at though. We also found a very nice marine store dealing in used parts. This kind of store should really be more common, as a lot of boating related stuff can easily be reused. Gothenburg Harbour is the largest port in the Nordic countries, and the last leg of the Göta is a very busy waterway. After exiting the mouth of the river, we headed into the beautiful Skärgård on the west coast of Sweden.
We've just left Sweden and are on our way back to Denmark, back to the small island of Anholt, which is located in the middle of Kattegat. This is going to be a bit of a special trip for us because it's going to be our first overnight passage. We left Göteborg this morning and went about 20 miles south to the small harbour in Berkil. Got a few hours of sleep and now we're on our way across Kattegat towards Anholt. Unfortunately, the wind is pretty much directly against us. That is, there's almost no wind, but whatever there is right against us. So right now we're motoring. Hopefully we might be able to put up some sails later. It would be pretty annoying to listen to the engine the entire night. It's en falsk smilsil.
We read up on the various navigational lights and were happy with the new AIS system, as we would be crossing through the shipping lanes during the night.
After running the engine the entire night, we've just rounded the reef outside Anholt. I've turned in and I've finally been able to put both sails up and actually turn the engine off. So it should be pretty nice the last hour to have some peace and quiet.
Tine. Er det hårdt at være kat? The island of Anholt is a very popular and special sailing destination in Denmark, and the beaches on the island are known for having some of the clearest waters in the country, almost resembling what could be found in the more tropical areas of the world. While relaxing in the cockpit, suddenly Crown Prince Frederik of Denmark showed up to refill his vintage speedboat. The next day we went for a walk around the island. During the Napoleonic Wars, the British occupied the island in order to control the lighthouse. The Danish fleet had been captured, so 1,000 Danish sailors rowed over from the mainland to recapture the lighthouse, which the British had now fortified with a garrison of 380 men. The Danes failed to surprise the British and suffered a terrible defeat. After the war, Anholt was returned to Denmark and a monument has since been erected on the island. The marina on Anholt gets totally filled up during the summer and boats are even anchored up in the outer part of the harbour. Crossing from Anholt to the Danish mainland, the route takes us right through a giant windmill farm. Apparently 64 locks isn't enough, so we decided to take just one last lock here at Øer Marina. Sidste sluse, Anne. Ja, okay.
Hvor hurtigt sejler visiret?
3,1 nu. 3,5. Hey, nu kom den op på 3,6. 3,7 nu. 3,7.
We stopped for the night in Moab on the island of Samsø, which would be our last stop on the trip. The next day we continued on. What started as a beautiful day suddenly turned foggy and the visibility went to almost zero. This was probably the most scary sailing we had ever done. Boats would just pop out of nowhere, so we were constantly on alert. Luckily it only lasted around an hour or so. The forecast promised bad weather for many days, so we decided to sail all the way home to Haderslev.
Prøv lige at se, hvor sort det ser ud bagud nu.
This was probably stretching it a bit as it started turning dark before we had gotten all the way in the fjord. With the boys armed with flashlights, we managed to stay in the fairway and made it back after what had been one of the most exciting and beautiful trips we had ever been on. During the 2-month journey, we sailed a total of 930 nautical miles, visited 41 different marinas and a couple of lovely anchorages, as well as going through a total of 66 locks. The weather was almost tropical all the way during one of the warmest and driest summers we can remember in our part of the world. This did, however, mean that we motored a lot, as there were many days without any wind, and obviously the entire trip through the Goethe Canal itself was also mostly motoring. We did have some very nice sailing along the way though. The trip was one that we will remember for the rest of our lives, and we would recommend it to anyone. If we had to do anything different, we would probably have taken it a bit more slow. It was easily doable in 2 months, but 3 months would have made it possible to spend more time at all the lovely locations along the way.